All right, guys, today I want to talk about back pocket techniques. And what that term means, at least to me, is a technique that you're familiar with, that you've done on the mat, and it's just not something that's one of your go-tos, right? We all have a past, a couple of years on the mats, we all have our games, whether it's with our takedowns or our submissions. I mean, even though this video is more about jiu-jitsu, even in striking, we have our games, right? But, and more specifically to grappling, like I have my game. Kimuras from any position, triangles from any position, knee cut, pass, butterfly sweeps, get on top at all costs and smash. That's my game. There are things in my game, like omoplatas, that I'm well aware of, that I know how to do, but I don't go for. No one that wrestles with me is going to be like, oh, watch out for Daniel's omoplata. It's not one of my main attacks, nor is a guillotine choke. Again, I know how to do these, but they're kind of like back pocket techniques. It's something that if you're with someone who knows your game in training, or even in a tournament, someone studied your game, you've competed against them before, they've been watching you, they know, okay, watch out for his armbar. It's good to have a technique that you can pull out of your back pocket, so to speak. That's why I call it a back pocket technique, right? It's got to be something that you're familiar with. You can't do a move that you've never done before. That doesn't make sense, unless you're just able to think that quickly, but most of us aren't. But if you're a guy that likes to pull guard and go for triangles, awesome, but develop an armbar too. Develop an omoplata. It's always good to have that because, and there's different schools of thoughts on this. Some people think if you just get so good at the move that no one can stop it. Well, there's a lot of truth to that. And like my Kimura from top and bottom has served me well in training in my competitive career. I have, off the top of my head, 3 or 4 wins with the Kimura. Probably more. I'd have to sit down and look because I write everything down. But it's good to have other stuff. It served me well. But there's times where I go for the Kimura and the guy defended and pulled out of it, but I was able to get a sweep off of it. And that wasn't what I was looking for, but I knew that the move was there. You don't have to necessarily do a move all the time to know it's there, but I always think it's good to have moves in your back pocket. The more we train, we accumulate a lot of techniques. And even the best guys in the world are good at like 4 to 5 things, honestly. If you look at guys like Dean Lister, he's known for his footlocks. There might be no one better in history at footlocks than Dean. But having trained with Dean, he's got a pretty good butterfly guard game, a very good passing game that no one gives him credit for. And if he takes your back, you're in big trouble too. Like, he's really good everywhere, especially with the legs, right? I've never rolled with Dean, but I have trained with him, and I've watched him roll with other people. I wasn't fortunate enough to roll with him the day that I took a couple classes from him, but he's not just a leg locker. And if you look at, other guys, it's the same thing. Like Hodger Gracie, in the gi, don't let him mount you, he's gonna cross choke you. But he's also armbar guys. He's also taken guys' backs and choked them. He's gotten footlocks too. Those aren't what he's known for. Most guys at that high level tend to catch everyone with those moves. But then when you watch in some tournaments, they pull out something that they don't normally go for. Marcelo Garcia is known for taking people's back and rear naked choking them. And later on in his career was the guillotine. But I've also seen him get armbars too. I've even seen him drop for heel hooks, all right? Those with him, those are probably back pocket techniques because he's used to squeezing everyone's neck, right? So it's good to like learn as much as you can and just file it away in the Rolodex in your mind. That's what I do. There's inverted guard techniques and techniques I learned 10 or 15 years ago. I'll never use them. They don't fit my body, but I keep them in my head because if I go against someone who's doing that, I understand it. And there might be a time where I'm in that position and I may need to use it. You never know. But if it's in there and it's in your head, then you have it at your disposal, especially if you've taken a class and drilled it. And even if you're not going to use that technique, which has happened to me, I've been taught a move and in my head, I'm like, I'm never going to use this, but I'm going to practice it because it's what my instructor's teaching. It's rude not to practice it, and you never know. And then there's times where I'm on the mat and I'm like, wait a minute, and it's something that, you have in your back pocket if you need to. So you guys should never discount stuff, and there's always important to have it because you never know when you're going to need it. There's an old saying, right? It's better to have it, not need it, than need it, not have it. And it's the same way with techniques. Obviously, your technique game is going to be your game, and you're going to develop it, and it's going to serve you well. But it's always good to just keep, file stuff away in your back pocket, and then pull it out when you need it, because you never know when you're going to need it. And especially, it's true in striking, but a lot less. Striking's a lot more simplistic sometimes. But especially with grappling, like with my judo, I'm a black belt in judo. I have like 3 or 4 throws that I alternate between. But then there's times where guys counter, and I'm in a position for a completely different throw, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll take this. It's not my throw. It's not a throw I go for initially, but being put in that position forces me to adjust. And that's the same thing on the ground. I might be going for a Kimura that I want, the guy defends it, and I end up slapping on a north-south choke, or I end up slapping on a guillotine. Those are back pocket techniques. They're techniques I know how to do, that I'm aware of, but I haven't developed them to a high level. So don't discount the use that they have in your game. So you never know when you're going to need them, so keep that in mind.